I failed. Why do we fall? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up.
What will you do?
Rebuild it. Just the way it was, brick for brick.
If you play it safe, you're gonna exist. You only get to live when you take risk. Ain't no living in safety.
People either survive in the jungle or exist in the zoo. Few recognize the significance.
You can't be the man if you don't jump. You can't be top dog unless you fight the other dog. Ain't nobody finna give you the championship. You don't win the title without coming to the fight. You don't win the fight without training. The jump is necessary. Why would you not jump? Why would you not take a chance?
And that's scary. And it's scary. You gotta be willing to face it.
Yeah, it's scary. And that's why most people won't jump.
When it feels scary to jump, Ian, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you end up staying in the same place your whole life. And that I can't do.
Look at all those people down there. They follow the rules for what? They're letting fear lead them.
What happens if I don't?
Life's simple. You make choices and you don't look back.
You need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable scenarios, okay? If you do easy things, you will have a hard life. If you do hard things, you will have an easy life. Let me say it again. If you do easy things, you will have a hard life. If you do hard things, you will have an easy life. As a man, you have to understand that we as men, we do better in environments where we are uncomfortable, okay? You put pressure on a rock, it turns into a diamond. You being in uncomfortable situations will bring the best out of you.
Yeah, I like it, man. What I like about it is I'm doing something I don't want to do. Every time I start doing things I don't want to do, I grow.
Yes. That's a lesson that people need to hear and learn.
You gotta go for it, guys. You gotta say, you know what? This comfort zone I'm in is a danger zone. It's a danger zone because what is it doing? It's stopping you from your true potential. It's comfortable. I don't want to step out here because I don't know that area. Well, that area is going to give you gotta risk it, right? And the reward is huge. You guys gotta risk it, man. Don't let anyone say you can't do something. Don't let your mind say, oh, I can't do it anymore, to your body. You can. You just gotta push past it. We listen to society and what the normality, the average people are saying, oh, that's too much, it's too much. Too much for them, man, not too much for you. So go for it, man. At the end of my life, my tombstone, one thing it'll have on it, no regrets. And that's a good life, man. You ain't got one life, why not go for it, right?
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living.
It wouldn't kill you to try. You know, spending a long time getting a life you would actually want is about 1,000,000 times better than getting a quick turnaround time on a life that you'll forever be disappointed with. You know, playing it safe seems just fine until you get to the last moments of your life and realize all the potential that you threw away and can never get back. And I will never know from experience what that feels like, but the thought of that realization is haunting.
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'ma do my own thing.
That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
I'll tell you one thing. If you want to be great, you want to be the baddest mother ever at what you do, you're going to be misunderstood by everybody because you're going to be so obsessed and so driven to get there. That's what it takes.
That's the truth.
It takes every second of your life. Anybody says balance? Yeah, balance is important for a lot of people. It is. But if you want to go to that edge where people do not like you, don't understand you, question everything you do, you've arrived. When you are misunderstood to the point where why are you in the gym at 1 o'clock in the morning? What's wrong? You will never understand what is wrong with me. And that's why I'm so glad you don't. Because I'm in the right spot. When people don't understand you anymore, you're in that spot of obsession and drive. Where people are like, what the is wrong with this guy? I don't want to talk to you, man, because you're not going to get it.
Nobody knows but you. You can't get advice on what you should do with your life. right? Nobody knows what you are. Like even sometimes you don't really even know what you are. You got to take your shot, and it's like, as much as you want people to agree and you want the people around you to be supporting your dreams and all, it's not going to be like that all the time. You got to do it alone, and people will help you. And when you get the ball rolling, people will jump on. But if you don't believe, nobody else is going to believe. People come along because your belief is so insane, that your belief is so strong, that makes people be like, yo, this crazy.
The biggest risk to your future isn't your competition. It's the distractions you insist on keeping in your life, rather than doing the things you know you should be doing but aren't. People delay doing things they don't like for longer than it takes to do them.
Repeat after me, please. Make your move before you're ready.
And my caution was always the risk. Risk used to drive me right up the wall. I used to say, what if this happens? It's called the language of the poor. What if this happens? And on top of that, if this was to happen, look at the fix I'd be in. I better not try. Then I'll tell you what changed my whole life when I finally discovered it's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive.
You want to begin to take some chances. You want to begin to challenge yourself and make it okay to fail and learn from your failures. Don't allow fear of failure and the allure, the attractiveness of playing it safe in life to draw you in. You can't get out of life alive. You got to die to leave here.
You got to become a risk taker. Write that down.
Most people won't do that. See, most people engage in low life living, low risk living. This God said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best.
Success isn't a straight line. It's a maze. And when you think you figure that maze out, you hit a wall. And you gotta turn the around and start again.
If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
There's a million excuses I could make to rationalize not getting up early, doing the ice bath, and going for a run. But there comes a time when all these potential excuses turn into fuel that motivates you to keep going.
My biggest fear, honestly, was, let's say this. Let's say I don't care if you believe in God or not. I don't care. So let's just play a game with me. Let's say you're God, and we have a big, long line of people, and I made it to heaven. I'm 75 years old. I'm 300 pounds. I made it to heaven. I worked for Ecolab my entire life, spraying for cockroaches. That's what I did. But I'm dead. I'm in heaven now, and you're judging us all now. So we're in line. We're all sitting there in line. You have Adam Brown. He has a big board up, and you're talking to Adam Brown about his life. And you rip it down, and I'm next in line, David Goggins. I see my name. I see all this shit. God goes, hey, you say, read this, man. And I'm reading this list, and I'm seeing 182 pounds, Navy SEAL, Ranger School, motivational speaker, changing lives. Okay, man, pull-up record, all this shit. And I'm like, that's not me, man. And God looks at me and says, that's who you were supposed to be.
And here's an important statement to remember. It's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become. So part of the key here is to set the kind of goals that will make something of you. Don't set them too low so that you don't have to grow and you don't have to read and you don't have to try and you don't have to stretch. Don't set them too low. And then don't sell out. Don't go for something that's going to cost you your virtue or cost you your values or sell out your principles. There's a good middle road here to follow. Goals that will inspire, goals that will help you grow, change, develop, and become better than you. Okay.
Okay, y'all ready for a lecture? Talk about the importance of nothing. You get up every day, you're entitled to nothing. Nobody owes you nothing. You could have talent, but if you don't have discipline and you don't execute, you don't focus, what do you get? Nothing. If you're complacent and not paying attention to detail, what does that get you? Nothing. So nothing is acceptable but your best. Everything is determined by what you do and you trying to be your best so that you can build on positive performance so that, and that's the only thing, there should be nothing else.
Develop a sense of urgency. A sense of urgency is a quality that is possessed by only 2% of the population. 2% of the population do things fast. 2% of the population have a bias for action. So develop a sense of urgency. Get the reputation as the person who does things fast. Develop a reputation for speed and dependability, and your future will just open up in front of you. And if you'll develop that habit of working fast, that sense of urgency, act now, do it now, do it now, do it now. If you develop that reputation for speed, it will be worth a fortune to you. It takes a little while, but it's a habit. Most people just sort of shuffle through life. You know, they get to it when they feel like it. But all the excellent people, all the high performers have a sense of urgency. And finally, complete each job that you start. Get on with the job and stay with it till it's 100% finished.
And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. Most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep. You got to be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours. If you really want to be successful, some days you're going to have to stay up 3 days in a row. Because if you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. That's how bad you got to want it.
What if it's a mistake? It's a mistake. Rest assured. What do you know? You're going to stumble around, right? And what's going to happen is this. You're going to not stay in stasis. You're not going to wander around in circles. And I see people like that. They said, well, I never knew what to do, and now I'm 40. It's like, that's not so good. That's not so good. And you might say, well, and there is a literature too that suggests that people are a lot more unhappy when they look back on their lives about the things they didn't do than they are about the mistakes they made while they were doing things.
I always ask myself, even I would always ask myself, is your purpose. What's your purpose for living? Do you know your purpose? What you're created to do? Do you know what that is? A lot of people live their entire lives not knowing, an entire lifetime not being happy because they feel as though they're not fulfilling their purpose.
If you stay in control of yourself, that's the key to everything in this world. If you listen to anything else on the outside and you start to adapt to other things, you're never going to live the way you want to live. And to be a fighter, you have to be in control of yourself all the time. I always say the best fighters are the best actors. The ones that can trick themselves, fake it till you make it, till you get to the championship. And you have to live that way. You have to obsess never being broken. And even if you break, accept it and then on to the next.
And that's what's painful, is that it takes more effort to start in the beginning. And more people are right about the fact, they're like, hey, you're not going to hit it big. And guess what? A month in, you're not. But they're only measuring on months. And at 6 months, you're also not going to have hit it big yet. And they're going to be like, I'm still right. And at a year, you're still not going to have hit it big. And they'll still be right. And every day that you haven't hit it, they're going to feel like they were right. But they're wrong. Because they're measuring in days and you're measuring in decades.
So many of us come from these small places in our mind that we're not willing to think outside of only what we've seen. Our mind works in such a small compartment. And one thing I was able to do was to dream. Many people, but don't make dreams your master. Until you're able to really put yourself into that dream, but don't make dreams your master, that's where you truly become what you're destined to become.
What do you mean, don't make dreams your master?
A lot of people sit back and they dream. They don't put the work behind the dream. That dream has become their master.
Without pain, without sacrifice, we would have nothing.
The fact that it is painful is the reason that it's working. Yeah. Like if it wasn't you stepping out, everybody else that has to try and step out into this new life faces this same thing too. Mm-hmm. Every single person does. That's why most people don't do it. Yeah. Like this is what hard feels like. And this is why most people don't win. Mm-hmm.
So continuing to push through and almost seeing that level of discomfort as a signal. It's like a way marker that's been planted in the ground. Yes, more this way. Because if it was all just super easy, well, how are you going to get anything different to what everybody else has got if you do the same thing that everybody else does? And one of the best selectors for people not doing a thing is discomfort. So the route that has a lot of discomfort down it, usually on the other side of that, ends up with something which is valuable.
I think a hopeful message that anyone can think about who's in that hard period or in that start period is that it won't get harder. Like, this is the hardest part. And so if you can just make it through this, everything else is downhill. It's not that the things that the dragons are going to slay aren't going to get bigger. They are. But you become so much more equipped to slay them back.
Most people are just trying to get through the day. Here's what I want you to be committed to do. Learn to get from the day. Don't just get through it, get from it. Learn from it. Let the day teach you. Join the University of Life. What a difference that'll make in your future. Commit yourself to learning. Commit yourself to absorbing. Be like a sponge. Get it. Don't miss it.
You have to work every single day. I think that's where your confidence comes from. Because when nobody's looking, that's the time that really counts. That's the time that really matters. I know how much I train. I know how tired I've already made my body. This is nothing. The finished product is the easy part. The games, like, I can literally play in the games in my sleep. It's like the working out at 5, 6 a.m. and then all the practices and all the extra conditioning. Like, that's the hard part. And so I can get through it. That work that you do every single day is key, because that's what you're gonna be able to fall back on.
If you laugh, you risk appearing to be a fool. If you weep, you risk appearing to be sentimental. If you reach out for another, you risk rejection. If you love, you risk not being loved in return. If you place your dreams in front of the crowd, you risk ridicule. If you go forward in the face of overwhelming odds, you risk failure. But risk must be taken, for the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The person who risks nothing has nothing, does nothing is nothing. Well, in the world of ego is nothing. That person may avoid suffering, pain, and embarrassment, but that individual will not learn, love, change, feel, or grow. Only the person who takes risks is truly free.
We all live inside a bubble, right? This is our world. We go to this park over here. We usually go over here to, hang out with friends. This is our favorite club. This is our world. We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do, you gotta put more air in your bubble. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever wanna be successful. Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself.
You gotta get out there. You gotta give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures. Because remember this, you will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse.
I said to myself, if ever I want anything to change, it's up to me. That's the time where I really got scared. It suddenly hit me right between the eyes that if I wanted my life to be different, it was up to me to make my life different. Starting point of flying to the stars, the starting point of taking complete charge of your life, the starting point of great success and great achievement is to accept complete, unconditional responsibility. If it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to you. Never complain, never explain. What that means is if you don't like the way things are, then it's up to you to change them. And if you're not willing to take steps to change them, then don't complain about them. So if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to you.
I failed, I'll go back to scratch. I'll use some positive motivation. I have like one day where I'm like defeated. But I started realizing this is part of the process. This is part of the journey. I had to realize this is part of my process versus just saying, like I used to, I'm just not good enough. If I'm not good enough, we always say that I'm just not good enough, and then we try something else. I'm gonna make myself good enough. And that became my mentality. I'm I'm gonna make myself good enough.
My first 9 businesses didn't really amount to anything. 9. As in the first one, spent time, failed. Second one, this one will be different, failed. Third one, this is the one. And then 6 more after that, right? I'm just painting this picture because like it's painful as because the whole time everyone is telling you, I told you so, and they're right. Today, but not forever.
Now is the time to take risk. You don't have kids. As you get older, your obligations increase. And once you have a family, you start taking risks not just for yourself, but for your family as well. It gets much harder to do things that might not work out. Take risks now. Do something bold. You won't regret it.
The next year is going to go by whether you're doing something about your life or not. Look, did you do what you said you were going to do by this time? And if you don't, hold your feet to the fire. Because, I mean, just sitting around dreaming someday, someday I'm going to get a different job. Someday I'm going to change this. Well, someday ain't a day of the week. You know, there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Look on your calendar. Some days not on there. So you got to say, okay, I'm going to take this small step by here, this small step by there, this small step by there. And then pretty soon, you know, we don't leap tall buildings in a single bound. We take it a floor at a time.
My 3 questions are, what do you want? How badly do you want it? And how much are you willing to suffer? And very often, everything revolves around the first question, what do you want? Because a lot of people are unclear what they want from life. They don't sit down and think through. We are writing our own life story every day, and yet we don't think about it. Who do we want to be? Where do we want to live? What life do we want to lead? When we've finished our life, come to the end of our life and look back, what do we want to say that we've done? So, what do you want is a very powerful question. If an athlete says, I want to be the best, Bill, fine. How badly do you want it? Because you've got to pay a price to be the best. The best pay a big price. You've got to work harder, you've got to commit more, you've got to take more responsibility, you've got to deal with more ups and downs. And if we can deal with that question, how much are you willing to suffer? Because I work with gold medal champions and they suffer every day. They work enormously hard. They sacrifice enormous things in order to get that success.
Real motherfuckers are obsessed with what they do. The people who win the biggest are obsessed. You cannot argue that. It might not be healthy. It might not be what most people want. It certainly isn't balanced, but it's the real story. Because I can tell you that anybody that wins at the highest level, that's how they operate. Thousands and thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs, and the best ones, the ones that win at the highest level, they are obsessed.
That pain you feel, that's the pain of success. You must be willing to shoulder that pain to get to success. Success is something that's a very lonely path in this world, because few are willing to make that down payment of pain for that futurement of success, the better life. Very few are. And when you get the success, what comes with that is many that love you, but the majority will hate you for it, because your success is a spotlight shining down on their missed opportunities, where they came up short, where they didn't quite have it inside and never went back to revisit it, where failure is what stood instead of improving failure for success. Failure is part of the recipe for success. You fail 1,000 times before you succeed. Every single person has. It's the losers that fail once and quit. Every winner has done failed. The loser and the winner both fail. It's just that the winner gets back up and does it again. Very lonely road success is. Know that going into it. But it's the only road that will lead to a life of remembrance.
Most people just they're not willing to get up that early or to make those sacrifices required. So it's a function of how badly do you want to change your life, and what are you willing to endure to craft that life that you aspire to have, or do you just want to talk about it?
Everywhere I look, I see fake work, pretend work, or pose work. I put in real work, hard work, and that's it. People pull out all the time, and people make excuses all the time, but I just get on with it, put in the work and reap the rewards, and that's it. That's why you see me with everything and with complete control of this whole game.
Why? We all ask why we should work this hard, why take that many classes, Why go to school that many years? You know, why take the notes? Why read the books? Why work that hard? Why put yourself through the push-ups and the disciplines? Why? Good question, why? Best answer to why, I think, is the second question. Why not? Why not see how many books you can read, how many classes you can take, how many skills you can develop? Why not see how valuable you can become to the marketplace and to your friends and to your family? Why not see what you can make of yourself? Why not see how far you can go, how much you can see, how much you can earn, how much you can share? Why not? That's the heritage all of us have, especially is to see what we can make out of our lives now that we've been given this extraordinary opportunity.
I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on, but I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. Fall forward. This is what I mean.
You have to understand, this next 5-year window is when you don't go practical and safe. This is not the time to get the job mom wanted you to. This is the time to realize that you have a 5-year window, and it's 3 for some, it's 8 for others, but this is a 5-year window for you to attack the life that you want to win.
Here's how to really cash in on this year. Number 1, get serious. Life is serious. We call it life or death. Somebody asked me one time if I had a good description of life. I said, yes, I think I've got a good one. Life is the struggle to keep death at a respectable distance. Serious. Life is serious. The future's serious. It's serious whether you win or lose. It's serious whether you succeed or fail. It's serious whether you've got a good future carved out for yourself or you do not have.
You learn nothing from success. Never. There's nothing you learn from success either. You learn everything from failing. And fear of failing is what holds people back from doing anything. And when you don't try, and you wake up at 65 years old, you're a lot angrier than if you'd failed. You're a lot of, it's really easy to be 65 years old and go, I tried to do that, I just couldn't do it. You'll really be mad if you go, I think I could have done that, but I didn't try.
It's not on everybody else. It's on you. You have to make things happen. Nothing is going to be given to you. You cannot have any part of your mind that thinks, oh, someone will just do this for me. You cannot have that in your mind. You have to do things yourself. You have to create things. You have to make things happen. You have to do it yourself. No one's going to give it to you. And this doesn't mean you have to take from someone else. You have to build for yourself.
It's easy to give up.
Hell yeah.
It's the easiest thing in the world to do. All right, man, I'm done. I ain't going. I ain't gonna keep going.
Yeah,
I don't feel like going to work.
The
I'm
one,
done.
yeah, man.
It's easy. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying. That's a real grind.
So my first wish is for you to find joy in work. Find work that gives you great joy, or just fall in love with whatever work you do. That's the only way you're going to do your best work. That's the only way you're going to do exquisite work. Instead of working for a living, think of it as your life's work. I wish for you to love your work as much as I've loved my work. My second wish for you is to learn to embrace failure. I've just said 2 contrarian words, work and failure. We've been taught all of our lives to not be a failure. So why am I standing here wishing you embrace failing? Avoiding failure is not the same as achieving success. In fact, finding failure is a discovery of sorts. It's a discovery of yet another way how not to do something. Failure is often on the path to success.
That's risky. The Englishman says, well, if that's the way it's going to work out, let's give it a go. Right, that's what it's for. Give it a go. Somebody says, yeah, but I'm looking for safety and security. Fine, then huddle in a corner. We'll cover you with a sheet, bring you 3 meals a day. and will protect you, feed you, look after you, care for you. We won't let anything happen to you, and you'll probably live to be 100. The guy said, well, yeah, I'd live to be 100. But what a way to live. Right. What a way to live, safe and secure. Don't ask for security. Ask for adventure. Better to live 30 years full of adventure than 100 years safe in the corner. And see, it's not important how long you live. What's important is how you live.